Well, now we will continue. We will refine our gun. The first that we will do is add a couple of subdivisions, and we will use the inflate brush. We will fix a little more these areas. For example, here we've got a problem. We will resolve it later, and we will use the inflate brush for make rounded these edges. We will add geometry, and then we will smooth it. Well, now we've got some stars. When we smooth this part, we exaggerate, and we've got a different shape. So we will try to add a volume and smooth it. If we try to move the quantity of polygons, if we move down, it could be easier for us using brushes like move. Well, it is more simple. Move the geometry on the model. For example, we could move these edges down for help the shape and the look. Here we could see the seam that we got. So we will try to fix that. By using this brush, we'll go to the edges and it will help us to create a better curve. There, we'll go to the higher subdivision. I'll explain you something very important. So, when we sculpt something and generate a geometry, we've got some kind of tips or stair. For example, this one. It is because we've got on the same vertex here. On the same vertex, we've got a couple of edges, the lines on this case. The ideal for this is only 4 edges on the vertex. That kind of geometry is perfect because it helps us to keep the balance in the model. But here on this edge, on this vertex, will damage the model like this or this vertex. So when we've got on the vertex just 3 edges in this case, like this one, 1, 2, and 3, and there is another case very dangerous. From one vertex, 5 edges, or worst, 6. This kind of troubles will generate these tips on the geometry. It could damage the geometry. This kind of geometry is very difficult to delete it by using the smooth brush. We could stay here trying to smooth this, but this vertex will stay there. Why? Because we've got more than 4 edges on this. So in this case, for try to fix this, I use just edge polish and the smooth brush. So we will just flat this to the shape that we need. And we will smooth this a little more. We've got this very marked, but it looks better. We will use edge polish for remove this kind of problems. So the ideal for this is try to flat the star, the tip, and the area around that, or create a very polished surface. For example, here we almost delete that tip. So we will use the edge polish brush for polish that tips, that points over the mesh. We will add a subdivision. And it is simple. We will just flat and smooth. If the geometry looks like we've got a lot of deformations, we could create a new mesh and then project. We'll do that very fast. Sometimes it is very complex to delete that kind of imperfections, so we could use the zero mesh around this. What we are going to do here is duplicate this piece. We'll select the grip. We will collapse the subdivisions, the lower for delete the lower subdivisions, and the higher for delete the higher subdivisions. So before we use the zero mesh option, we'll go to the brushes panel and we will activate this topology brush. This brush will allow us to create some guides for the zero measure. So I teach you that on the course before this one. We will create a line. We don't need it perfect. And by using this line, we'll try to create a shape like this. Generate the line here. And try to avoid the crossing on the lines. These guides will be used by ZBrush for generate a new mesh, zero mesh. Now we've got a better topology. We will compare it with the first one. This is the new one, this is the old. In this mesh we don't have that kind of stars. So I guess that is better. We don't have a lot of stars. We don't have so much. And in this case we'll use the project tool. This mesh is better than the other. So I already showed you how to project this. We will add a subdivision on this piece. We will hide the other subtools. We will keep the one tool that have the detail, and use project all. There. Now we've got a new piece with a new topology. We will delete the old subtools. Yes, and this is the new topology. For example, we delete these stars, and without that, it will be easier to smooth this area. So for example, we've got this and this other, but that will not be a trouble. That's all for this video. I guess that is very long, but for the smooth and try to polish that brushes, it is very complex. In the next video, I'll show you how to add more detail to our gown. We'll use new brushes, some lines like this, that could help the look of our gown. So see you in the next video.